WrestleZone presents Lost in the Midcard. Here are your hosts, Jeremy Bennett and Matt Black. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where maybe Paul Heyman was right when he said that the Bloodline story was only in the third inning about a year ago. It is Lost in the Midcard. Welcome. We are here, our first show of May, and we've got Backlash to talk about as well as a news-filled Dynamite and a bunch of contracts as well. A lot of contracts coming and going. And we got some updates for you on those, as well as we'll lead you into Monday Night Raw, which is going to be full of King and Queen of the Ring qualifiers tonight, including one update of somebody that may be replaced there. And actually, they've actually removed that match from the WWE.com preview. So we'll give you the latest on that and more. But first, if you've not done so already, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at WrestleZone, who is our host for Lost in the Midcard. That is WrestleZone, all one word. Hit that subscribe. Also hit the bell notification so that way you can be notified every time WrestleZone goes live, especially with us every Monday at 7:10 Eastern, 6:10 Central. And on our individual clips and videos, make sure to give us a thumbs up, comment on them, and share them. Help us get the show out to as many people as possible. And thanks to all those that are already in the chat with us tonight, Safet, Mark Cho, and Ozzy. I'm your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter at JB Huskers. As always, my co-host. He is on the Twitter at Raw F Showtime. It is Mr. Orange Cassidy. Matt Black. Matt, how you doing? I'm KO today.
I'm doing all right, KO. Looks like we have a really good Raw ahead of us an hour from now, just based on the match lineup.
Ooh, yeah,
so looking forward to tonight's show. Thought Backlash was fun. Eventful Dynamite last week. Lots of contracts to talk about. It's gonna be a pretty fast hour here as we go into Raw. So
usually is lately with the way the usually is the way the pro wrestling world has been rolling lately. It seems like we are not struggling to find content to talk about. We will we will preview Raw tonight. One thing that has been pulled from the Raw preview is Drew McIntyre versus Finn Balor, King of the Ring qualifier. This was from Fightful Select within the past hour. Drew is not medically cleared to compete. Jey Uso will take his place. That is the placeholder right now, but CM Punk is in town. It'd be interesting to see if he's healthy and cleared to compete and he takes Drew's spot, because that would be a beautiful troll on there. But let's talk about Drew real quick, Matt. Do you think Drew kept this from WWE before he announced that he had it, or did WWE know about this ahead of time?
Not a chance in hell that they don't know about that kind of stuff.
Because he'd been working with it, so I'm wondering why
he worked the UK tour with the injury.
Yeah,
and his elbow was wrapped up over there. They knew. Yeah. I don't want to hear that.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious because the timing's interesting that he says that on national TV and all of a sudden he's not medically cleared where he had been wrestling before. So I was just curious on that. Yeah. That wasn't any speculation or anything hearsay. That was just my idea considering the timing. I just thought it was interesting, the timing of it. So, but now we can get a Rising reunion, right? From Impact Wrestling, huh? Anybody?
No.
Hey, that's what kickstarted Drew's career back up, though. After he got fired from WWE, yes. Tama Tonga and Tangaloa both are in WWE at the same time. God is in WWE. Could you freaking believe it? We'll get to that and much more. But first, let's get to our top story, of course, which was, my God, Matt, best crowd ever in France.
I don't know if I'm willing to go as far as to say best crowd ever.
Damn good one though.
Damn easily one of the best in recent memory.
Man, they kept up
I
the
mean,
energy.
we can definitely say that.
Yeah, they kept up the energy for almost the entire near 3-hour pay-per-view. Uh, Props to WWE because they only had 5 matches on the card and really didn't have a shit ton of filler. They gave all 5 matches time, and really it was really go right to the next match. And a lot of people thought John Cena was going to appear. Of course, obviously, a 5-match card thought you may have to kill some time, and thought John Cena was in France, but that wasn't the case. I think that was a really well timed pay per view with 5 matches, wasn't it, Matt?
It was. I love the afternoon shows.
Me too.
I love them. I think afternoon pay per views are great.
Yeah.
I thought the show flowed together very well. There was only one match that I didn't particularly care for.
I think we're probably in agreement of it. It
But
was pretty sloppy.
yeah, it was pretty messy. But other than that, I thought it was a really good show. I enjoyed it. Definitely just just a fun afternoon and a fun atmosphere. I think the crowd helped take Backlash to a level beyond like people comparing this to a Saudi show.
Yeah.
Which I can understand. I can understand that comparison. Like very little matches, very little overall build and hype for the show. Kind of
Yeah.
felt like going in was a Saudi show, but that crowd in France made it an event and they made it feel special. So if they choose to go back to France next year, and they were teasing the idea of going back to into a stadium next year at the
For
post show
Backlash?
press conference after Backlash, Triple H and were teasing about that. Somebody from the media asked about it, and he said Nick Khan sent him a text like midway through the show and said "Stadium?" question mark. So it seems like they might we might get a stadium show in France next year. I think that would be really freaking cool if we did, because if they could bring it in that tiny arena, I would love to see what they could pack it into an entire stadium and bring that type of energy to a WWE show.
Yeah, I wonder how much those tickets were because it was the largest gate in history, and a lot of people immediately said, "Well, them tickets were expensive."
Yeah, the largest arena gate in WWE history, I believe, is what it
Yeah,
was. So
and those tickets.
clearly, we're not talking their stadium shows or
No,
anything
no,
like
they said
that.
arena. Yeah,
But I would imagine those tickets were not cheap, because
probably not.
I think that venue only held like 11,000.
Yeah,
So to get
that's about right.
11,000 people and to break your all time arena record, yeah, I would say those tickets had to have been extremely expensive to be
Um,
able to pull that off.
Brienne, Frantic World, Andy, thanks for joining us in the chat. Andy says, the last chat here, they need to look into making more pay-per-view afternoon shows. Not all, but try it more out. Pay-per-views inside the U.S. It could help getting for more viewers, especially those with kids. Yeah, I would not be opposed of a matinee pay-per-view in the United States either. That's not a
Yeah,
bad idea.
I don't know if they're going to go in that direction for um domestic shows in the United States and Canada. But I think anytime they're running a PLE outside of North America, I make them all in the afternoon. This is I love it.
Yeah.
I love the afternoon shows. It flows very nicely. Next thing you know, it's done. And and if you're like the diehard wrestling fan that wants to watch as much as you can, you more often than not. You didn't this week, but you'll have an episode of AEW Collision to watch a few hours later. So it's a
Yeah.
Saturday filled with wrestling. You don't have to choose. You can watch everything, and that's always a good thing.
And also the I don't know. Yeah, you could do a Sunday afternoon though too, possibly. I don't know. It's especially when football's in its off season. I mean, when it's in its on season, they're obviously going to do Saturday shows as much as possible.
Yeah,
Um,
WWE seems very focused on doing strictly Saturday pay-per-views now, except for the 2-night WrestleMania, of course.
yeah,
Which how funny is it that WrestleMania 41 is going to be held on Easter Sunday in Sin City.
Yeah,
That's an interesting choice by WWE.
I wonder if Minnesota let the cat out of the bag and screwed themselves,
I
because
know
that's
they're
happened
not. I
before.
know they're not happy. They're not happy.
Now
I
the thing
feel very
is,
bad for
yeah,
Minnesota.
I was gonna go. I might still go. I don't know. I got it now. But I was planning on the first weekend of April. This is now the third weekend of April, so I got to see if I can get work off. So I will work on that. But I'm gonna try to go to WrestleMania next year for sure. The the interesting thing is also gonna get SmackDown in the Sphere is another talk that they're talking about now that's going to be in Vegas, because UFC is going to be running in the Sphere very soon. So
This
now they're kind of
September, UFC
just imagine a
306.
WWE show in the Sphere. That'd be so badass. I mean, I've seen a bunch of different things like the Earth show, U2. I think Fish recently played there, and just the cool things they're doing with that. It'd be badass to see a WWE show there. I don't know how many seats it fills. Is it
I
about eight?
think I
Is it
think
about
they're gonna
8,000?
I think they're going to wait and see how it goes for UFC in September. And I think if it's a successful outing for UFC, I definitely think WWE will follow suit. But
Oh
since they're all under
wow!
the same company now, they're going to be
There's
able to see how UFC goes in September, and then at that point WWE can make the decision.
the Sphere holds 18,600.
That's wild.
Considering the front part is just the Sphere wall. That's wow! I did not know. I thought it was like 8,000. So wow, man, I would not be surprised that if they go there for SmackDown the night before. Wouldn't be
I like
surprised
I
at all.
said, I think it's going to very much hinge on how it performs with UFC in September.
Yeah. First match starting off is the tag match between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Very cool. The crowd singing along to Orton's theme, even when the music shut off. That was pretty cool. You could tell Orton was really taken aback and pleased at that. That was pretty cool. Of course, big pop for Kevin Owens as well. They take on Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. And of course, as they'd been doing the night before and the weeks prior, they just decided to brawl. And so then Nick Aldis just comes out and says, fuck it. It's a street fight, which garners a great pop from the crowd. And I think that was the way this match should have went down anyways, right, Matt?
Yes, no, like this was. I mean, what other way can you go with these four guys and the way you've built things up in recent weeks? You had
Right?
you had to go street fight,
It's been out of control.
and when you win street fight, everybody immediately assumed. I mean, at least I immediately assumed. All right, Jacob Fatu, 100% this afternoon, and then when we go ahead and we get
Camacho.
If we get freaking Tonga Low instead, did not see this coming. Did not see this coming.
Camacho makes his triumphant return.
I didn't even know he wasn't under a New Japan deal any longer.
No, because that wasn't even nobody talked about it.
No, because everybody was talking about Hikuleo and stuff. Nobody brought up the status of Tonga Loa. So
boy,
Girls of Destiny in WWE.
Props to Triple H.
I never thought I'd see the day.
In the age of social media, it's hard to pull the wool under people's eyes, and Triple H did that. Everybody and their dog was expecting Fatu, just like everybody and their dogs was expecting Bo Dallas when Matt said no, don't get your hopes up, and well, Matt was right.
I did not expect him on Saturday.
Tonight? Question mark?
I would say this week is more likely than Saturday. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
so somebody, some fan decoded our code, or maybe saw a code, and they kind of are guessing. It's still guessing. The Wyatt 6, which is actually going to be 7 people, and it includes obviously Dallas, and then Eric Rowan, Dexter Loomis, and Nikki Cross, and Joe Gacy, and then there's like this like W6 plus 1 or something like that, and so and then there's an A at the end of it, so then they deduce that maybe Alexa Bliss is a 7th member of the Wyatt 6, and so which is
I mean,
weird because it wouldn't be Wyatt 6.
if we're not counting Bray Wyatt, that is 6 people with Alexa.
Yeah.
There is no
Yeah.
7th. I mean, we can't.
Oh, that was. I'd have to look at that code again.
We can't really count Bray Wyatt when
I swear I'm
Wyatt's
missing
not going to
somebody.
be. No, you're
No,
not. It was only 5.
Okay. Okay.
It would be 6 with Bliss.
UED. Okay, yeah. U 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I thought it was 6 and then Bliss. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it is 6 with okay. I thought I was missing somebody. But I mean,
I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed if Alexa is not involved with this stable.
Right?
So
I think she wants to be.
Ozzy said the A could be for Sister Abigail.
Yeah.
So that's a decent theory too. But who would they play? Maybe Bray and Bo's sister. I don't know.
I don't even know if she's still in wrestling.
Yeah, I don't know either. But I know some people determined that they believe that they're going to hold this reveal off all the way until Clash at the Castle.
Oh boy.
And I think that's a big mistake because I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to lose interest in decoding these QR codes and stuff if this shit's going for another month and a half. That's
going to turn into evolution, the evolution here.
Yeah, I think they would be taking a very big risk by doing that. Honestly, I'd bring him in as early as tonight. I'm not saying it's happening, but if I'm WWE, I would think like if they're going to be on Raw, bring them in tonight. If they're going to be on SmackDown, bring them in Friday. But one way or not, I think this is the week to do the unveil, or at least start running the promos on television instead of making people follow these QR codes. At least take it to the next step on tonight's show.
It looks like, according to LinkedIn, Mika is a realtor, so I don't even think she's in the business anymore.
Well, there you go.
The day after a pay-per-view is always the best time to do something like this. It's always like a reset period before you head to the next one. Is Clash at the Castle the next one, or is it King?
No, the Saudi show's the next one.
That's at the end of the month,
at the end
right?
of this month, yeah.
I would do it now. Screw it.
I would too. I absolutely would do it tonight.
It was hell of a swerve, though, man. I mean, we're all sitting there thinking Jacob Fatu.
Solo has redone the bloodline.
Yeah.
Solo is Roman Reigns.
And he's
G.O.D. are the Usos, and Jacob Fatu is him.
Yep.
He's literally rebuilt the bloodline in his new image as the former bloodline was. Yeah. So brilliant. And he is brilliantly done.
And he is I told you this privately. He is doing good work playing the lead in this too, on promos and everything. And
Heyman's keeping everything together.
Oh my God, Heyman.
I don't think this would be nearly as effective right now without Heyman on television playing the role that he's playing.
My God, it's funny when they were backstage and Solo and Tanga and Tama walked by Jay right before the world title match, and Paul looks at Jay like, hell, he's like, help me. Oh, we got a little interesting. Might as well just say this now since we're into it here. According to Worked Wrestling on Twitter, of course, we just
hop right into this right now.
Well, we're talking about Bloodline right now. We might as well.
Next topic. Okay, we're just flying by the seat of our ass.
Well, we'll go back to Backlash after this, but there is an idea, according to Worked Wrestling on Twitter, there is an idea being floated behind the scenes at WWE for a War Games match between the Solo Bloodline, which we just talked about, and the OG Bloodline, which would include Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Sami Zayn. I am all for that, Matt. I am 100% for that. That would be amazing. Obviously, Jay has got Sammy. Jimmy's going to come crawling back to Jay after getting beat down. Roman's going to see the writing on the wall. Obviously, Paul's going where Roman's going. I'm all for this, man. This is gonna be good. And I can't remember who it was. Oh, it was Brian Zane on Wrestling with Regret on his review of Backlash. He said every time the bloodline starts to get stale, they tweak one thing to completely change it all, and it gets interesting again. They did that when they added Sami Zayn, and now they're doing it again with basically what we would call the Bloodline Wolfpack, But you kind of wonder if they're going to go by a different name, or I don't know. But what are your thoughts on all this?
I love it.
Yeah.
I think some of the best work of the Bloodline entire story was when Sammy was involved with the Usos and Roman. So
Bring back that honorary shirt.
if we're gonna get that back to go up against Solo's Bloodline, I love everything about it.
Hell yeah.
So you could also see the ultimate betrayal there of Heyman stabbing Roman in the back and siding with Solo. Because let's face it, it wouldn't be the first or the last time Heyman has stabbed somebody in the back.
Nope.
So
did it CM Punk?
Did it to Brock multiple times.
Yep.
Paul Heyman loves to stab people in the back. So
going back to the end of the Backlash match, of course, the interference from Tangaloa, and then followed by a Uranagi on the chairs, and then a spike that gave the Bloodline the win over KO and Roman, or KO and Randy. I honestly think this ain't the end for KO and Randy. I honestly think they are still going to be the ones that take the tag titles off of Waller and Theory. I think they honestly just truly behind the scenes enjoy working with each other. And so that's why I think, much like with Riddle and RKO, RK Bro, I think this is going to continue. Do you feel the same way? The same way?
I don't know if I feel as strongly as you do about them being the ones that take the tag titles, but I do think they're going to continue to be an alliance for the foreseeable future.
I like Marcho's comment. Call them Team God Mode. Of course, that's what Roman would use as one of his shirts. But of course, now you have a God on the team. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, and New Japan probably has Gorillas of Destiny trademarked. But yeah, if you want to call them God Mode, like
nobody has God trademarked but me.
That would work. So,
oh, wait, sorry, Vince, you're not with the company anymore. What do you mean?
You can't do his shitty voice anymore.
Next up,
let his voice die like his career.
Next up, the triple threat for the women's title: Bayley, Naomi, Tiffany Stratton. Pretty amazing for Tiffany Stratton to be in this position already, but for someone, I mean, I would almost say she's almost the kind of the female equivalent of Kurt Angle in terms of picking up the business coming from a different sport. Does that kind of sound fair?
I mean, it took her more time than Kurt, to be fair, but I mean, she's
really?
still
2 years. I mean, Kurt was in wrestling a year before WWE. He did independent stuff.
I don't know if I want to compare her to Kurt Angle. I think she's her own person, and I think she's doing tremendous things on her own. So I can't.
I'm just talking in terms of picking up the business as quickly as she has. She's only been wrestling 2 years, so I wouldn't be surprised if she's holding a title.
I think as far as the women in the industry go, as far as mic skills and wrestling skills, nobody has picked up the package of both as quickly and as effectively as Tiffany has.
Yeah.
Since her NXT debut till now. So, and I thought the women were in a very rough position to follow that opening street fight, and they crushed it. Great match. It might even have been. I might even lean on saying that might have been my favorite match on the show. Like,
mine was the main event.
I would had the finish not felt a little abrupt and flat, like the reverse pin thing. I'm never a real big fan of that as a finish, but the match itself In the interactions the three women were going at each other with. I just thought
Yeah.
I loved that match way more than I expected to.
I get
And
it
I
because
think if it would have had a more solid finish, it probably would have been my favorite match of the show.
I get it just because they haven't really made Naomi win a lot, so this kind of keeps her a little stronger with a loss like this. But yeah, and with Tiffany, I think she's a lock for either Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble, or the first Intercontinental
Oh,
Champion.
I think she's 100% Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much you can do. Like
she's gonna get that briefcase and she's gonna paint it pink, and
I
she's gonna
said that.
she's gonna be dazzling and Barbie it up, and it's
Yeah,
and they will
I said
sell
that.
those like they've sold past briefcases, and this one
Yeah,
will probably be their best selling one they've ever done.
I said that. I
So
said that on the show last week, and Ryan Satin said the exact same thing. I'm like, God damn, cool. Maybe Ryan's listening to the program. Hey, Ryan.
to
Yeah, that's gonna
I think
make a
it's a
lot of
no.
money.
It's a merchandising no brainer.
Yeah,
And she's waiting. Like she might be a heel, but she's so ridiculously popular that
she's
like her.
over.
If you put out the right merchandise for her, it's going to sell.
Yep.
So I'd say go for it.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, there's going to be a women's intercontinental title match coming up. So, I mean, if Undertaker's like publicly saying about it, I'm sure Triple H will probably listen to the Undertaker, and that's
Well,
probably going to be
I
coming
don't
soon.
think a women's North American Championship in NXT was done by accident.
No.
So
Yeah, I mean,
as long as it's dual branded, I think
yeah,
it's a great idea. As long as this championship, if they make a mid-card women's title for the main roster, as long as it can go back and forth between Raw and SmackDown, and it's not locked to a specific brand, you make it like the women's tag titles.
yeah.
I think it's a brilliant idea, and I think WWE's women's division right now is more than deep enough to host a mid-card women's title without any issue whatsoever.
Yeah, because I don't think you could I don't know if you could necessarily do two with a U.S. title and an Intercontinental. I don't think you can do two quite yet. Maybe once some of these NXT women, because the NXT is loaded with the women down there, but it's interesting.
Well, there you go. Apparently, she said it herself on Chris Van
Well,
Vliet. So everybody's talking about the idea of the pink briefcase. So
yeah, it's almost got to be a lock at this point, you'd think. So Bailey retains off the roll up there. And after that match is where we saw Jay backstage with the Bloodline and Paul, just that face he was that was so good. That face he just begging for help to Jay. Holy shit, how about that France crowd for Jay's entrance? How badass was that?
Jay's entrance was taken to another level in France.
Woo!
And I would be shocked if crowds now in the United States
Get their
don't
phones
take
out.
that thing out, burn out the phones, and do the same thing. I think I think Jay reached another level of popularity on Saturday in France, and
Because they don't normally shut the lights off for.
It was a spectacular entrance for him.
They don't normally shut the lights off for that. Normally, right? Because they shut the lights off for
No,
that.
not that I recall.
So I don't know if that was a Triple H call to shut the lights off to get them to get their phones out. I don't know. But it looks so cool. Just the one where he comes in from the crowd, and then the one where he's up on the turnbuckle. Both of those shots were just great. And Jay and Damian, I mean, they put together a great match. But then we got our usual Judgment Day bullshit, which it's almost like the Roman Reigns match is the same old shit when the Usos help Roman retain. Now Judgment Day helps Damian retain.
Well, to me, this booking's even worse because if Damian Priest had the nerve to look himself in the mirror after that match, he should damn well know that if it wasn't for JD and Balor, that man wouldn't be world champion anymore. Jay had his ass beat on multiple occasions. And without JD and Finn showing up and helping when he didn't want them to, Jey Uso would be the world champion right now. So, I don't like the idea that Damian's being a little bitch about wanting to do everything on his own. Show me you can do things on your own, without having people have to help you retain your championship.
What do you
Because that
make of
championship would have been a one and done on Saturday without Finn and JD assisting him.
what do you make of him stopping them from beating Jay down after the match?
The whole thing's dumb. The whole
You
thing's
think he's
dumb.
is he turning babyface?
Well, I
Leaving
think
Judgment Day
I think the original plan was they were gonna kick him out of Judgment
before
Day.
Mommy got hurt?
But yeah, but with Ripley gone, you can't afford to do that. Because then Judgment Day is Finn Balor, JD McBighead, and an injured Dominic Mysterio. Like, who cares about that? Like, they don't have they need to keep Priest in there right now, because without Ripley, that whole thing falls apart.
Is his forehead a shoot with those the marks?
I don't know if that was a shoot or not. I have no idea.
Well,
I did pop it. Michael Cole calling him a Klingon, the Klingon-sized head of JD McDonough. That was a great commentary line.
That was hilarious. That was hilarious. Poor JD. McAfee's gone from calling him to Stooge. Now he likes JD. He's got respect for JD now. So that's kind of funny. He said that on the show, I think today. Next up was probably the weakest part of the show. The women's tag team championships, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Kabuki Warriors taking on Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I think part of it, and I didn't catch this live, but I caught this when I was watching Brian Zane's review of it. I think Jade got knocked a little loopy with one of the back fists, and that's where some of that sloppiness occurred when it was 2-on-1 against her. I think that might have been part of it, but I mean, that wasn't all the sloppiness in the match.
No,
either,
that wasn't
she recovered.
No, because there was a lot before and after that spot.
Yeah,
that were beyond messy.
Yeah,
and thank God WWE had the smarts to put her in a tag team.
Yeah,
for the time being with Belair, because they've had her at the PC for almost a year now, and she's still not good. She looks like a superstar, and she's got the look and she's got the star power down for what WWE looks for. But my God, if I could make one request to Jade Cargill, stop doing the jumping pump kick, because it looks like ass 90% of the time that she does it. Just stop it. If you can't execute it properly every time, stop using the freaking move. It looks terrible. And when she screws that up, it turns into a downward spiral. She botches like 3 or 4 things after that. It's not good. Like the 2 smartest things WWE have done since they've signed her. One, they realized she wasn't ready for prime time.
Kept her off TV.
Because WWE for a very long time has not been good about, hiding someone's weaknesses and showcasing their strengths. And that's something AEW is good at. That's something Paul Heyman was good at back with ECW. But WWE's never been very good with that. So to have the wherewithal to know, take her off TV. Okay, she's still not where we want her, but we want her on television because we're paying her a lot of money.
Put her in the Rumble.
Put her in a tag team with Bianca Belair.
Yeah, put her in the Rumble for a couple spots.
Yeah, well, the Rumble, it's hard to screw up the Rumble.
Yeah, it's spot. It's spot. So
yeah, so
there's not much flow to it. There's you do this.
To me, you could not break up the Jade and Bianca tag team until you're confident enough that Jade can handle things on her own.
Yeah, because you're going to need Bianca to carry it.
And it doesn't look like she's going to be ready anytime soon.
And I was about ready to say the same thing as Mark Cho. Yeah, Gable Stevenson like, oh, hey, is this the next Kurt Angle? But yet there was no charisma and apparently no ability, because they didn't see enough in progress in him to keep him around. And now you got half of that.
You're banned.
You got half of that tag team, or that group with Dempsey and God, I forget. Oh, who's the other guy in that group? I forget the other guy in that group. He's a younger guy, I think an NIL guy. So that group with Drew Gulak is now like cut in half, which will be interesting to see how that goes. But I think Dempsey could carry himself. I mean, Dempsey is more than ready. I mean, obviously comes from his father, so he's got a lot of knowledge. But I think Dempsey could carry a group by himself, which is to me very feasible. And they're still the Heritage Cup holders, right? Charlie Dempsey.
Yes.
I didn't think they'd lost it yet. So, but yeah, Gulak. Well, yeah. He was released, but not all of it was because of Rousey, and we found out he may not have been the most liked individual backstage for a lot of reasons, including bullying and such. So apparently, especially Cody Rhodes, apparently is not a fan of Gulak either. So it almost looked like good riddance for that one.
Dude, after I read that report from Fightful Select about the way that man conducted himself down in NXT, good riddance.
And then the Cody thing I showed you.
Yeah, look, as far as I'm concerned, that Fightful Select report should be more than enough that he never gets a job in a national company again.
Yeah.
Like, and I TNA ain't gonna touch him. AEW ain't gonna touch him. I hope the top independent places like Revolver and GCW want nothing to do with him. That ain't the type of person you want in your locker room, man.
No.
Like that's ridiculous. Look, you're a good talent, but clearly your ego is as big as the fucking Goodyear blimp. If you're
Cody
pulling that
Rhodes
kind of shit on younger talent.
So Cody Rhodes said this on Busted Open 7 years ago. He goes, "There is a wrestler by the name of Drew Gulak. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I think he sucks. He does this grizzled old vet routine, and he hasn't done anything or made any money anywhere, and he shouldn't be doing that routine. He looked at me from his table, frustrated and jealous because there were people in line at my table. Hell, they may have been in line just for pizza. Says to me what you need to get, and so he says to me, that's what you need to get over. And he walks away in a huff and a temper tantrum. Since then, that guy has been on my list 100%. I will regularly text Ethan Page just to tell him how much I think Drew Gulak sucks." That's Cody Rhodes 7 years ago. Wow.
Yeah,
Speaking of Cody Rhodes,
I'm pretty sure 2K25 will manage to have a training section all by itself without dumbass Drew Gulak running it.
Xavier Woods will take over.
Worry about that.
Xavier Woods will take over for him. Wasn't Woods in part of that trading section this year?
I think so. I don't recall anymore.
Question mark?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. And speaking of Cody, the main event, Cody and AJ, first time that AJ Styles has fought Dusty Rhodes and Cody Rhodes for a world title. That'll be that's going to be a short list, but sure enough, AJ faced Dusty in 2007 for the NWA World Title, and him and Cody put on a hell of a show. This was my favorite match of the night. I thought they would be a show-stealing type of match, even though it was main event. And to me, I think I was correct. I thought these guys, they brought it, and obviously we knew the result going in, but still, it didn't take away of just how good of a match it was, and plus the energy of the crowd coming back after they kind of lulled at the tag match. They kind of came back for the main event as well, and that kind of added to it as well. And let's give props to Jessica Carr for being the first female referee to referee a world title main event at a PLE as well. That was a major moment for Jessica Carr as well. Matt, what was your thoughts on the main event of Backlash?
I thought it was a really good match. Good main event. I enjoyed it. It went pretty much exactly how I expected it to. There's still some people online so damn pissy about Cody Rhodes kicking out of the Burning Hammer at 1. A lot of people up in their feelings and hurt about that.
Don't watch any Sting matches the last year.
I didn't really think it was that big of a deal.
No, I like one of those every once in a while, like when Sting does it.
Well, no, they're like the Burning Hammer is one of the most protective moves in wrestling. Rah, 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 rah. And I'm just like, dude, it's 2024. Like,
sit down, Mark.
Stop.
Sit down.
Really, to me, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, the idea of moves being protected in 2024 is kind of silly to me. Everybody kicks out of everything nowadays. So to feel and believe that there are certain moves that still need to be protected in this day and age, it's to me, it's an old-fashioned idea. that I really I don't really understand.
You would not see a burning hammer in WWE if Vince was still here. And overall, I mean, Backlash, almost a perfect show if it wasn't for a few flubs on the tag match. Tag match was still good, but
I mean,
just had
I'm happy I'm happy that crowd got a title change because they deserved a title change, but
yeah.
it
You
just
were
it
worried that
wasn't.
that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, well, after the way they booked Belair on Friday and on the pre-show on Saturday, I'm like, man, I don't know if they're winning anymore. So good on them to make me second guess myself.
Before we get to Dynamite, we'll talk about Raw real quick. We already ran down basically. I mean, the preview is just King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring.
Which is
One,
seemingly all we're getting tonight. It's just all
yeah.
King of the Ring matches.
So just
So
one thing from Sean Ross Sapp. Gunther Sheamus is going to be the main event. So
not surprised.
no, that's
Did you see that tweet that Gunther put out yesterday, and
I did
that
not.
Sheamus put out yesterday about Gunther?
I did not.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Let me look here.
He deleted it. It ain't there no more.
What did he say?
He basically implied that Gunther was Hitler.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. I think I screen capped it. I will send it to you after I will send it to you after the show. Just remind me.
Okay.
Actually, let me see if I can. Actually, I'll send it to you right now if I have it. Like I'm pretty sure I have it.
Moving on to Dynamite real quick. We're just gonna go through a few points. What are your thoughts on Christian Cage being the #1 contender?
Check your DMs. Definitely not what I expected. I expected Perry, but it's smart to not basically have Perry, eat a loss right off the bat.
Right. That's why I was kind of wondering about it. I'm like,
because that wouldn't be good.
no.
But no, I liked it. I think Cage is a good call. They played off his history with Swerve and Nick Wayne.
Yeah, that
played
was
off the history with Swerve and Cage, where Swerve lost the tag team casket match at All In. They put all the things together. They made sense. Christian hasn't had any losses since
100%.
he lost to Copeland because he went away.
Yep.
And the Bucks are in charge now. If they want to allow someone to jump the line, to get the contendership, well, like it's them abusing their power. I didn't have a problem with it at all. I think it was an unexpected challenger for Swerve because he's been off TV for quite some time. But I love the
They
choice.
all have.
I think it's a very good first title defense for Swerve heading in Double or Nothing.
Yep, it was a good segment too with the beatdown and everything. So I thought it was real well done. Copeland and Buddy Matthews, hell of a match for the TNT title. We're going to get Copeland and Brody King. Brody King, who has 2 wins over Copeland. We're getting that on Dynamite this Wednesday. And then I'm going to fully assume it's going to be Copeland and Malachi Black at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, I would definitely. I'd be shocked if it wasn't Copeland and Black at Double or Nothing.
I like how Copeland's acting a little kooky lately with that interview and Kyle O'Reilly showing up. I think Copeland's getting a little spooked by the House of Black. I kind of like how he's acting there. Then we'll talk about Kenny Omega. Very emotional speech from Kenny Omega. Very emotional considering his situation. But now I think based on what we saw from the beatdown by the Elite, I think Kenny's pretty much 80 to 90% clear from what especially when he took that stretcher bump. That just told that I was messaging you as I was watching Dynamite tonight. I was catching up today during work, and I'm like, all right, he took a kayfabe chair shot. He's doing a dragon suplex. I'm like, okay, he's got to be close. He's got to be pretty close. Then he gets dumped off the stretcher on the concrete. I'm like, okay, he's about 95% there, I'm guessing. So, very emotional speech.
He couldn't take those shots to his stomach if he needed if he needed to have surgery. I refuse to believe that he would have taken the physicality that he took on Dynamite last week if he wasn't on his way back. I think he's more cleared. I think he was more cleared on Wednesday's Dynamite then Mercedes Moné was cleared in March when she appeared at Big Business and got physical, because she got physical, but nobody touched her.
Yeah.
Like everything Mercedes has done on television that's been physical has been her dishing out. She has not taken anything physical on television yet, and I'm sure that she likely will before Double or Nothing. But for Omega to take what he took on Wednesday,
yeah, especially the stretcher bump,
he's on his way back, man. He's on
and we
his way
learned,
back.
I
think that's great news, and I love that Omega worked everybody. He's been working people with his his Twitch stream. I think that is a genius way to lead the fans on and continue to tell a story away from programming. Props to Kenny Omega, man. He's always been good with utilizing social media and interviews and stuff to direct the narrative in the way that he wants it to go, and he's masterful at it. Very, very good. Great segment to close.
Obviously, the
Dynamite
kayfabe is going to be
off Rampage. So
obviously, kayfabe is he's being attacked as is he still has these life-threatening things. That's going to be the kayfabe story because the elite are assholes. And a surprising alliance with FTR coming to try to make the save. So they are going to probably be in part of what will probably end up in a blood and guts match eventually. Where you didn't expect FTR to come out to help Kenny Omega. So that was kind of a cool surprise. Real quick, we got contract news. Seth Rollins is re-signing with WWE, a big money deal as of what Drew McIntyre and anybody else getting re-signed is going to happen. And he has shaved his face. That looks very weird. And Becky Lynch had quite the derby hat on as well. But Seth Rollins will be with WWE for years to come. Ethan Page officially no longer with AEW or ROH. I would love for Cody Rhodes to make a phone call and maybe get him on NXT and finally get him booked the way he should be. But I don't know. What do you think on that one, Matt, with Ethan? You said he burned bridges with Impact, right?
Yeah. Look, unless time heals all wounds, like he did not leave Impact / TNA on good terms. Okay. So I don't foresee TNA being there as an option for him now. I
really hope he goes to NXT.
I hope he has some friends. I hope he has some friends in WWE.
Cody
having a friend.
He has Cody.
Having a friend in Cody is a big help. Yeah. But man, I don't know.
Jerry Lawler no longer.
I'm really not sure.
Jerry Lawler no longer has a commentator contract with WWE, still has a Legends deal, though. And Kevin Owens, in an interview, announced he has 9 more months left in his deal. I fully suspect that he will re-sign as well. I would not. I would be very surprised.
I am not 100% confident in that.
Wow. I'd be surprised.
I'm not.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Lost the Midcard. We got all sorts of king and queen of the ring matches as the brand split officially takes place tonight. For Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to tune in next week. Enjoy Raw. Follow us on Twitter. We'll be live tweeting all night long. Have a good one.